Life is not fair. That sentence can either make you bitter or it can set you free. The world does not automatically reward the hardest worker. The most talented person does not always receive the opportunity. Loyalty is not always returned, and good intentions do not guarantee good outcomes. You can spend years being angry about this reality, or you can understand it, prepare for it, and become stronger because of it. Most people were taught that if they work hard, remain patient, and treat everyone well, life will eventually reward them. Those values are important. But values alone do not protect you from competition, broken promises, office politics, changing relationships, or people who place their own interests ahead of yours. Niccolo Machiavelli studied power as it actually operated, not as people wished it operated. His ideas can be controversial, but one lesson remains valuable today. You must understand reality before you can navigate it successfully. This does not mean becoming dishonest, cruel, or manipulative. It means keeping your principles while developing awareness, boundaries, competence, and strategy. You can be a good person without being naive. You can treat others fairly without depending on them to always treat you fairly. And you can protect your interests without abandoning your integrity. In this video, you will learn 4 principles for becoming stronger in a world that does not always play fair. Stay until the end, because the final principle may completely change how you approach your career, relationships, and personal development. Number 1. Stop depending on fairness to protect you. When you assume that everyone will follow the same rules you follow, you become predictable. You reveal your intentions because you expect honesty to be returned. You give more than necessary because you expect generosity to be rewarded. You wait patiently because you believe someone will eventually notice your value. Meanwhile, another person may be building relationships, communicating their achievements, negotiating better terms, and creating opportunities for themselves. They are not necessarily more talented than you. They may simply understand how decisions are actually made. Consider the workplace. You stay late, finish every assignment, and quietly solve problems. You assume your manager sees everything and will eventually reward your effort. Then another employee receives the promotion. They may have completed less work, but they communicated their results, built trust with decision makers, and showed that they were prepared for greater responsibility. You may call the outcome unfair, but calling it unfair does not change it. A stronger question is this: what did that person understand about visibility, influence, or positioning that I overlooked? Hard work matters, but invisible hard work is often mistaken for ordinary performance. Value must be created, demonstrated, and communicated. The same principle appears in business. A company can offer excellent service for years and still lose a customer to a competitor with a better price, clearer offer, or more convenient experience. Past loyalty does not always defeat present incentives. This is why strategic people do not depend entirely on gratitude. They continue improving their value, strengthening relationships, and creating reasons for people to stay. The lesson is not that loyalty is meaningless. The lesson is that loyalty becomes stronger when it is supported by ongoing value, clear communication, and aligned interests. Strategic thinking means preparing for more than one possible outcome. You can trust someone while still documenting important agreements. You can cooperate while maintaining alternatives. You can negotiate in good faith without revealing every detail of your position. You can hope for the best while preparing for the possibility that circumstances may change. That is not paranoia. That is preparation. However, strategic thinking should never become an excuse for dishonesty. Do not lie, exploit people, or break agreements simply because someone else might do so. Your integrity should come from your standards, not from your expectation that everyone will behave exactly as you do. The goal is simple: remain ethical, but stop being unprepared. Ask yourself where you are currently depending on fairness instead of building protection. Are you waiting to be noticed? Are you relying on a verbal promise? Are you investing in someone who has not demonstrated equal commitment? Are you depending on a single employer, client, or opportunity? Build options. Communicate your value. Document important decisions. Develop relationships before you desperately need them. Fairness may fail you. Preparation does not have to. Number 2. Replace repeated complaints with strategic action. There is nothing wrong with recognizing injustice. Serious mistreatment, discrimination, harassment, fraud, abuse, or illegal conduct should not be silently accepted. Document what happened, seek appropriate support, report misconduct when necessary, and protect yourself. But there is a major difference between taking action and repeatedly complaining without changing anything. Complaining can create temporary emotional relief. It can also keep your attention locked on what another person did rather than on what you can do next. Imagine that a colleague repeatedly takes credit for your work. You could spend weeks telling everyone how unfair it is. Or you could begin documenting your contributions, sending clear project updates, presenting your own results, and addressing the behavior directly and professionally. One response releases frustration. The other changes your position. Imagine that a client repeatedly requests extra work without paying for it. You can complain that they do not appreciate you. Or you can clarify the scope of work, update the contract, require approval for additional services, and decline requests that fall outside the agreement. A boundary is more powerful than resentment. Complaining says, "I do not like what is happening." A boundary says, "This behavior is not acceptable, and this is what I will do if it continues." One describes the problem, the other creates consequences. This principle also applies to personal relationships. When another person repeatedly fails to match your effort, do not continue giving more while hoping they will suddenly become different. Observe their behavior, communicate clearly, adjust your investment, and be willing to step away when the relationship becomes consistently one-sided or harmful. That does not make you cold. It means you are judging the relationship by demonstrated behavior rather than by promises or potential. Strategic action also changes how you see yourself. Every time you identify a problem and respond constructively, you strengthen your sense of agency. You teach yourself that disappointment does not have to become helplessness. You may not control what another person chooses, but you can control your boundaries, preparation, response, and next move. The next time something feels unfair, pause before reacting. Ask 4 questions. What exactly happened? What part of this situation can I influence? What boundary, conversation, or action would improve my position? What lesson can prevent this from happening again? Then, act. Do not waste months trying to force reality to apologize. Learn from it, respond to it, and move forward stronger. Number 3. Understand incentives if you want to understand behavior. People frequently act according to what they believe will protect their interests, reduce their risks, increase their rewards, or preserve their identity. This does not mean that every person is selfish or dishonest. Love, loyalty, morality, compassion, and duty are real. But pressure can expose which motivation is strongest. A person may support your idea when supporting it costs them nothing. Their position may change when the same idea threatens their income, reputation, authority, comfort, or relationships. Someone may promise long-term cooperation while your interests are aligned. When circumstances change, the promise may become less important to them. This is why strategic people pay attention to incentives, not only words. Before an important conversation, ask, what does this person want? What are they afraid of losing? What pressures are influencing them? How does my proposal help them? What objections might arise because of their interests? This is not manipulation. It is preparation and empathy combined with realism. Suppose you want your manager to approve a new project. You could explain only why the project excites you. But your manager may be thinking about cost, risk, staffing, deadlines, and how the project will reflect on their leadership. A stronger presentation connects your proposal to those concerns. Show how it saves time, reduces risk, improves results, or supports the team's objectives. Your idea has not changed. Your communication has become more effective because you understand the other person's perspective. The same principle applies in negotiation. Do not assume the other party wants the same definition of fairness that you want. Understand their priorities. Perhaps they value speed more than price. Perhaps they care about certainty, convenience, control, recognition, or long-term stability. When you understand what matters to them, you can create an agreement that protects your interests while giving them a meaningful reason to cooperate. The strongest agreements are not built entirely on trust or goodwill. They are built so that cooperation continues to benefit everyone involved. This applies to partnerships, employment, business, and even personal commitments. Good systems make responsible behavior easier and harmful behavior more difficult. Clear agreements reduce misunderstandings. Shared goals reduce unnecessary conflict. Accountability protects trust instead of replacing it. Understanding incentives also protects you from taking every change personally. Sometimes a person's behavior changes because their circumstances, priorities, or pressures changed. That does not automatically excuse harmful behavior, but understanding the cause helps you respond intelligently instead of reacting only emotionally. You can decide whether to renegotiate, set a boundary, reduce dependence, or leave the situation. The goal is not to become suspicious of everyone. The goal is to stop being surprised by obvious conflicts of interest. Listen to words, but study patterns. Consider promises, but examine incentives. Trust people gradually, and allow consistent actions to confirm whether that trust is deserved. Number 4. Build power through capability, not entitlement. There is a dangerous difference between believing you deserve an opportunity and becoming capable of creating one. Deservingness asks, why have they not rewarded me? Capability asks, what can I develop that makes my value impossible to ignore? Deservingness focuses on recognition. Capability focuses on results. You may deserve a promotion because of your effort and loyalty, but the person making the decision may be asking whether you can lead people, solve larger problems, communicate clearly, manage pressure, and produce measurable outcomes at the next level. Your effort matters, but effort must be converted into capability. You may deserve more customers because you care deeply about your business. But customers usually decide based on the value, trust, convenience, and results they believe they will receive. Your intentions matter to you. Your results matter to the market. This may sound harsh, but it is also empowering. If your success depended entirely on someone else deciding that you deserved it, you would have very little control. Capability gives you something you can build. You can learn. You can practice. You can improve. You can become more useful, reliable, persuasive, creative, disciplined, and adaptable. Every meaningful skill creates another form of independence. When you improve your communication, you become less dependent on people correctly guessing what you mean. When you improve your financial discipline, you become less vulnerable to every unexpected expense. When you improve your professional skills, you become less dependent on one employer. When you improve your emotional regulation, you become less controlled by provocation, rejection, or fear. When you build a strong reputation, you become less dependent on introducing yourself from nothing each time an opportunity appears. This is real power, not controlling other people, not intimidating them, not manipulating them. Real power is having the capability and options to respond when circumstances change. A person with only one option must tolerate conditions that a person with several options can reject. That is why capability and leverage are connected. The more value you can create, the more choices you can build. And the more choices you have, the less desperately you depend on unfair people, unstable environments, or broken systems. Choose one capability that would meaningfully improve your life. It may be communication, negotiation, leadership, sales, financial literacy, emotional discipline, technical expertise, health and physical discipline, relationship boundaries, or the ability to remain calm while other people become reactive. Do not choose 10 skills and master none. Choose one. Practice consistently. Track your progress. Apply it in real situations, and allow time to compound your development. Eventually, you stop asking why nobody gave you power. You realize you have been building it. The path forward. The purpose of these ideas is not to turn you into someone cynical, heartless, or obsessed with controlling others. It is to make you harder to deceive, harder to exploit, and less dependent on circumstances you cannot control. You can be generous without giving endlessly to people who take advantage of you. You can be loyal without ignoring repeated betrayal. You can be honest without revealing every private plan. You can believe in fairness while preparing for unfairness. You can forgive someone without restoring the same level of access. You can remain compassionate while still enforcing consequences. That balance is maturity. The strongest person is not the one who expects everyone to behave perfectly. It is the person who maintains strong principles while seeing human behavior clearly. So stop waiting for the world to prove that you deserved better. Build better options. Stop repeating the same complaint. Take the next strategic action. Stop trusting words without examining patterns. Understand interests and incentives. Stop measuring your future only by what you believe you deserve. Build the capability to create value wherever you go. Your challenge begins today. Identify one area where you have been waiting for fairness. Choose one action that increases your capability, visibility, protection, or independence. Then complete that action within the next 7 days. Not because life suddenly became fair, but because you decided that unfairness would no longer control your future. Comment strategic strength. If you are committed to replacing passive expectations with intelligent action. If this message gave you a new perspective, like this video and subscribe to Dapper Dude for more powerful content about confidence, discipline, psychology, strategy, and personal growth. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this truth. Life may not owe you an easy path, but you owe yourself the strength to walk it.